hoteli ya Panafri kuzungumzia swala zima la kura ya maamuzi.
K 12 times 2. Okay. Kabojea. That's Docas, the tallest lady in town, former county MP for Vihiga. You remember the 7 women, 7 parliament is represented here. You have a former senior official from the World Bank and former member of parliament for Kadara, Mr. Gashuru Wakarenge is there. Then you have the whip of this group, the MP former MP for Kasarani and also former deputy mayor of the city of Nairobi, Bwana Njoroge iko hapo. Former whip of Central Kenya Parliamentary Group and also Madera ya Masomo, Peter Weru is there. Bwana Monyo iko hapo. You have Bwana Ogingo amefanya kazi na parliament, the 10th parliament, he was there, even in the finance budget committees, and also went to the city county government of Nairobi. You have Mutemi ambaye alikuwa mjumbe mteule representing special group, and also is one of the conveners of the pastors forum in the Republic of Kenya. And you have Dennis Waero, who is a former for Pandoa Dagoretti South,
former chairman of,
and he was also a member of the pioneer Mount Kenya caucus there. So yeah, so I think this will be enough group so that we can go back to the larger meeting.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. Good afternoon. I want to begin by thanking the media for coming at fairly short notice, and also thank my colleagues who have been involved in leadership in one way or another in this land over the years. We met this morning, and as you can tell, we come from different strata in the different categories of leadership in the country. Sorry, K24. And I've been asked to make the following statement as to why we met here today, because I think it is important you know why we met and why we have called you. One of the key reasons why we met and why we called you is because we are constrained and concerned about the size of government that we have, the structure of government that we have, and the performance of government. The structure of government, the size of government, and the performance of government. With respect to those matters, many of you may recall that in the last parliament, a document was tabled after 2 years of very hard work under the leadership of the Auditor General that was called a report of the working group on the socio-economic audit of the Constitution, the 2010 Constitution. I was privileged to be the chair of the Budget Committee. And when we met in 2014 in February, beginning to prepare the budget for 14-15 financial year, we sat in County Hall, all 52 of us, and we asked ourselves, where will the money come from to do the work that we are supposed to do in the next year's budget? And it was from that meeting that we came up with terms of reference, which I will read to you just now. Which terms of reference I'll be happy to let you know I personally shared with the President and the Deputy President and made sure that The NASA team was also aware about this process. We did it in a bipartisan way. We consulted across the aisle, and we made sure that it had the blessing of the leadership of the House. In 2014, we asked the Auditor General and his team, and by the way, this process took 2 years. It cost the taxpayer 200 million shillings, no less. The process was to assess the impact of the implementation of the Constitution to the nation's economy and in particular its public finances. Second, to make a rapid assessment of the impact of the implementation of the Constitution on public institutions. Third, to evaluate the social impact resulting from the implementation of the Constitution. 4, make recommendations to the National Assembly on potential measures that could enhance prudent management of the country's public resources, and other things that you normally put in terms of reference. But we had, I would say, many of you are, I'm sure you are familiar with Karl Marx. In 1844, Karl Marx published the initial, they were called philosophic and economic manuscripts. And later on, somebody studied those manuscripts, and Karl Marx was concerned about the issues of labor, the issues of land, issues of capital, and issues of alienation. And I remember reading about a comment on Karl Marx's philosophic and economic manuscripts of 1844. And this is what this critic said. Whatever we may say about Karl Marx, we may or may not agree with him. But one thing Karl Marx did, he understood the question. Karl Marx, whether or not we agree with him, understood the question. We have come here today because, aided by this document, we think there is a public question. And that is what we are trying to convey to the country through the media. That there is a question around the structure of government. There is a national question around the size of government. And there is a national question around the performance of government. And that question is everywhere.